Hello and welcome back to the Business of Football podcast, episode number 8, and today we're going to be discussing how will AI take over football. First of all, I just want to say a massive thank you to every single person. Again, I feel like I don't really say that enough. I love to bring this to you, and so, I'm excited for what's to come. Thank you, every single person. It goes such a long way. Every single like, share, and download. I really appreciate it. AI. It's the big thing, the big bust word. Is AI going to take over the world? Are we going to be made redundant as humans? Is it all a conspiracy? That's a rabbit hole for another day. That's not something I'm going to get into. But in the football world and the sports business world, it is also coming. In fact, it's here. You look around you now, you're seeing all these companies and all these tech companies are switching to AI. The way that they operate with football clubs and with organizations is AI generated in most cases. The way that systems are done now, the way that processes are being made, it's all done by AI. And I just want to know a little bit more. I did a little bit of a research. Why do businesses use it? Why do football clubs use it? And, and when I say businesses, I mean businesses in sport and in football. And how can I adapt myself more for my business? I use it in a sense of automation and systems and generating ideas and all these different aspects. It helps me, but not on a large scale. You look at some tech companies. I worked in Orion Innovations, partners with Liverpool, and they work specifically with technology and AI, and it's a whole different ball game. Oh my God, it's ridiculous. So it's quite interesting, and it's the ultimate, from what I've learned and gathered, the ultimate reason why AI benefits specifically football is the marginal gains. Football is about efficiency. It's about making things run as smoothly as possible, and AI, to its credit, this is what it does. If we look at, let's take a practical assessment of coaching, right? AI in coaching right now, I would say it's, how do I put this properly? It is growing. It's still in its early phase, quite dormant. But once it becomes a norm, I think it will be massive. And I think coaches will have to start adapting themselves and taking that skill set to also know how to utilize it if they want to coach their players better and understand their players better, or if they want to do their own separate coaching academy, you're going to have to use AI. That is honestly a given. I personally believe that. And from what I've seen in research, that's what I think is going to happen. If you look at the way that AI, for example, has insights into your players, right? Nowadays, the technology in terms of understanding your player's heartbeat, understanding what your player needs, understanding how your player's performing internally, like how they're operating efficiently, is going to be massive. If you think you're trying to put a drill on, for example, a coaching session, and you will want to know how your players are physically operating in every single coaching session that you do, because when they go into a match day, you'll be like, oh, this intensity was a little bit too much for them, but this player, okay, he might not be as talented, but he operated more efficiently. He might be the better bet for this specific game against this specific opponent or with these specific tactics. That's an example of AI. It's that insight that you can get, which you can't do as a human. Now, in my opinion, you can never ever lose the human aspect in sport. And from what I've seen, it's also not possible. If you think a coach still has to see how their player is going to perform and how their player, ball-wise, talent-wise, with your eyes, you still have to have that. And I don't think that's ever going to get lost. But now, obviously, you have all these technologies in the ball, so you can understand how a player controls the ball, how a player, their little touches, all these different things. So you can also assess, is a player taking one or two touches too many? Maybe when he's dribbling, could he dribble more efficiently? AI can help you to resolve that. So all these tiny little insights are going to be so important. And those who get ahead and who actually understand it, beautiful. There's going to be such an advantage. And this is the platform that it's given us. It's, from that perspective, very, very efficient. Another way that it's bringing its way into sport is with injury prevention. Injuries are massive, and I wouldn't correlate the amount of injuries that we're seeing in football due to a failure of AI. I think that's down to too many games in football personally. That's also another conversation for another day, the business of why we need more games or whatever. But what AI is helping to do is to actually plan and automate rehab programs and rehabilitation opportunities for specific players. So you can log in now data into a system of a player, everything that they eat, their weight, the way that they feel, their type of injury, where the muscle and the tissue, whatever it is that's injured. You operate that, put that into a system, and then AI can actually automate and outline a rehab program for that specific player. Then they can follow that, and then it makes that recovery easier rather than having to guess or almost go by the book a little bit. Now with that insight, AI is allowing footballers to be able to recover better. What I would always recommend and what I can see is that even on a low level, it doesn't have to be elite, like you think how much money Premier League clubs have got to spend. Even at a lower tier, if you are a player or you are a coach and you know a player that's injured in your team, you can also use this to your benefit. All you have to do is go to a free AI tool and be like, look, my player's got this injury. You can log in a few details if you have that access with that player or you have that type of relationship. And AI can actually give you and your player a pretty good, reliable rehab program that you can then hash out, and it can help their recovery much better because they can stick to that plan. AI can document it so it can tell you what you need to do. It can outline it clearly. That's a benefit of AI. That makes it operationally efficient. If you look on the other side now in terms of tech and let's say business to business, so that was a football club example. If you look at business to business, I worked in Orion Innovations for about 6 months. So it was an internship. It was a really good opportunity. And I got an opportunity to see the way that they actually integrate their solutions and their AI into stadium planning and into overall management. It was incredible. I mean, every single part of a stadium, and it was Wembley Stadium, by the way, is automated. And the way that they manage that through data collection, through CRM systems. So you can also now log a backlog of email addresses and people who come into a stadium, and you can take data on them and actually track the way that they behave at a football game, track up what are they eating, what are they consuming, are they buying a drink, how many drinks did this person buy, how many drinks did this person not buy. So you can gather all that data and collect it. You can send it back to the owners of Wembley, I think it's EE or whoever runs it, and be like, look, we've got all these information for this specific game. This is how much content was consumed. This is how much people bought shirts. This is how much people bought food, drinks, whatever. And then the stadium can alternate. So if they think, oh, we had a lot of success with this specific product or this specific, type of content, we can do more of these. And if this didn't work, we can do less of these. You don't have to guess anymore. It's all automated now, and AI does this for you. And okay, that doesn't really benefit the consumer or the fans. I hate that word, unfortunately, but football fans are consumers. It benefits the overall experience and user engagement, because eventually they're going to attempt to put on a better platform for you as a fan, as a consumer, so that when you go to the ground, you're going to have a better time. Because you think, if they didn't know what you enjoy doing, how are they supposed to do more of that? Or if they know what you didn't like, how are they supposed to do less of that? AI gives them that ease to be able to do that. So that's one way that business to business works and operates. Another way for businesses, like as I mentioned in the previous episode, is content. Now you can automate content and put it out there and distribute it easily. Now they have to be very, very careful with that, because there's some restrictions, and also, do you want to be genuine or do you want to just put it out there and it's not as good quality? That's something you have to decide. And if you're going to go into business or you're going to go into social media or marketing, that's probably very specifically dependent on whatever the company you're working with wants to do. AI is not creative. It's really not. It's just efficient. If you want to be creative, you're going to have to do it yourself and try and do it automatically. So that's a very important aspect and element of using AI and being very careful. But content has never been easier to distribute now than ever before. I have done experience where I've used AI to distribute content, managing social media accounts in the past, and it makes it so easy because you can just post and post and post and really keep that level of engagement, consistent. I don't do that now, not for the podcast, but it makes it easier. Some cases I wish maybe I could do that, but it's just a really, really efficient way to be able to do that. And if you're not sure, for example, you own a business or you're starting up a business or you're thinking of starting a coaching academy and you're going, I want to create content, but I'm not sure how I can distribute it, AI can be a really good platform and source when done correctly to help you to be able to do that. And you can get your word out there, personal branding, or brand of your organization or coaching academy, whatever it is. AI makes it easier. So that's another benefit of AI, and that's really, really good. AI is not going to take away in my opinion, this is just my opinion, and from everything that I've seen, AI will not take away or replace humans in football. It just won't. Because football is, at its core, an emotional sport based on human connection and human experiences. You go to a football game because you enjoy that sense of connection. Yes, you enjoy the football, but some people just enjoy being with their friends and enjoy being with their companions and the emotion that it brings. That's from a fan perspective. From a coaching perspective, we have ran football as humans for years, and that's not going to change. We know how to run it ourselves, so it still needs human input. In scouting, for example, one way that AI is now merging with humans is actually in terms of statistics of players, of this player's good, and we've got insights into him, we've got all these different things because AI has efficiently done that for us, and AI can tell us this player might be a good fit. But at the end of the day, it still requires a scout to go and see that person who has the expertise, who knows the game, to go, actually no, this person won't work out, because yes, the data says he might work out, he might be good, but I've seen it, and what AI can't account for is he took 2 extra touches, or his first touch was a little bit heavier than it should be, but his movement wasn't great in this scenario, or the way that he thought, his emotions weren't fantastic, he couldn't keep his cool under pressure, or all these different things that I'd like to say the smell of football, that feel of football, that AI can't give you, that is still required with human input, is exactly the same as coaching, exactly the same as tactics. AI cannot tell you what Pep Guardiola is thinking. AI cannot tell you what your tactics are and what your philosophy is. It can try and help you and be efficient with it, but it cannot tell you, the players, what you're thinking. Only you can do that. And it can't tell you what's the best method of victory, because only you can do that. You know your players, you know it yourself, and the only way I would say it would replace humans is purely on the business side, and not even to replace humans, but to become more prominent. It could, I'll be honest, it could, but to be more prominent in, the way that we operate business to business, or the way that we service or automate business insights or CRM systems, or, social media statistic, analytic, all these things. That's probably where AI now is the thing, rather than human collection. And obviously there's a cost, and football clubs are at a lower tier, or lower organizations or startups, still learning the value of AI. I'm still learning the value of AI in my business, so I'm not at that top level yet where the ball game is just elite, of course, but it is going to merge itself into the game, and I think people shouldn't really worry. I actually think it's quite an exciting thing, in my opinion, and I've done my research on it, and there's just so many different things. It's here to help, it's not here to take over. Now, obviously, I feel like I sound like someone that's almost defending AI, or being like, oh my God, he's a bit naive. But purely in the business of football, which I think is a different ball game to AI in society, let's say, but again, we'll cut that off. I think it will make, the actual efficiency a lot easier, and it will help players, it will help businesses in sport, it will help all these different things, because now we're seeing it as well, like content is coming out everywhere. Your ease to a game is so much easier. When was the last time that you went to a football game and used a paper ticket at a Premier League? And I'm talking more specifically to Premier League, even in League 2. The last Swindon Town game I went to was a digital ticket, which was the first digital ticket I've ever had at a Swindon game. And so even now they're collecting data with CRM through AI. And so, but it makes it easier because you don't have to worry about losing that ticket, unless you drop your phone, and then I can't lie, that's on you. But it just makes the process a bit smoother, and I think a little bit more efficient. So that's the way it's molding. And I think if you're in business, if you're in coaching, if you're in scouting, the best thing you can do is to learn AI and start to develop it, and at a simple level, because that process of thinking, oh my God, I've got to learn AI, where do I even start? It can be a bit daunting. Of course it can be daunting. Just start very simple. Go to a free AI platform and just start messing around with it. That's what I'm doing, and that's what I've done, and that's why I've got more confident as it goes along, because it can be a process to learn. But I see it as someone going into business as something I have to learn. If I want this to work out, and I want to be ahead of the game, I want to be relevant and adaptable, AI is pretty important. I have to learn it. There's no good learning it later on when I could have learned it as it's in its infant stage. So, you know, it is important to learn it, and it can be simple. Like I said, go onto a platform, just start out, mess around with it a little bit. Oh, that's quite cool. Because then what you can do is you can use it to your advantage. In whatever field you go into, you can be like, oh yeah, I know how to do this with AI. It can make your job 10 times easier. And you'll be surprised how many people or businesses would love and value that knowledge of AI, because once they bring it into their business and incorporate it into their business, they'll be like, oh my God, this is a lot easier. Or once you incorporate it into your coaching, it can save you a lot of time, it can save you a lot of hassle, and it can just make things a lot smoother. That's the benefit of AI. And I think it's making football a lot more structured and efficient. I think we'll see. It will mould in 10 years, because it's one of these things that could also change, and maybe I come back in a year and everything I've said right now is irrelevant. We've got robots as footballers. We've got that Nike advert. There's a Nike 2014 advert where there's players that are going up against robots. That could literally be the future. Erling Haaland is basically a robot, so we've already kind of half started, really. As I record this, he scored like back-to-back hat-tricks, so maybe we're already too late. But I think we don't have to worry. I think in football, for our game, it's not going to be something that will replace you unless you're not really adapted or willing to learn it. Then maybe you probably have to worry, because it's coming. It's going to be here, and it is already here in certain stages, and that's only going to go more up as it saves businesses money, it saves businesses time, it saves football clubs money, it saves football clubs time. You have to be ready to use it. It's here, and so that's why I see it going, and that's why I think there's a worry if you're not careful. If you don't know it, then you should probably worry. If you know it, or you start to learn it, then you don't have to worry, because you'll use it to your advantage anyways, and you'll be fine. And that's not me trying to be a guru or trying to be an expert. That is just the way that it is. That's fact. So we'll see. But it's not here to take over. Not here to take over yet. Thank you very much for listening. The next episode I'm really, really excited to bring to you guys. It's a little bit of a sneak peek. It's the first interview. So I'm really, really excited for that one. We keep it going. We keep it rolling. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you in the next episode of the Football Business Podcast. Goodbye from me.